Hi everybody, it's Lace, and today's video we're going to go over the public stats API that Undone, one of the Soda devs, has published. And you're going to say, well, what is that and what does it mean to me? Well, basically what they've done is, and if you read this first paragraph shown on the screen, and you can look for this post, it's going to be under developer blog and search for Undone and stuff, and you can find it. But basically what they're doing is, just like they're saying is, they have a lot of data that can be analyzed. And data is very powerful. We're in quote unquote the information age. And by exposing some data to us through an API, oh my God, I know I'm starting to use abbreviations. I'm going to sound like the military or something. But anyway, basically, you can use code, and through their API, you can connect and get the data. And what this means is you're going to see some websites spring up with some data. And I am going to highlight some of the ones that, folks have posted publicly through this form, and you can find them in there. It's not like magic or anything. And keep in mind, folks are still, working on what are the most useful things to query. The queries are limited to only every few seconds. So if you go to a website that's, highly trafficked, obviously they can't query every single time everybody hits it if there's 100 people on it. So it's some little things to keep in mind. And secondly, we don't want to strain the servers where the data is. So there has to be constraints on, querying it and stuff. And so that's got to kind of be, a smart web developer will build that in there and, give you a warning, this could take a little bit to pull back this data. Right now, it's not too heavily used because obviously we haven't launched live and stuff, so the wait time shouldn't be too terribly bad. But as the game becomes more popular, looking up some of these stats just for your amusement may take, a little bit of time. So let's jump into the first abbreviation I used, API. Application Program Interface. I mean, you could have Googled it, but just real quick, it's just a way of connecting to the database. And they've provided basically, I guess the easiest way to explain it, and I am a programmer, but I've never had to try to explain it exactly. It's a function call, it's a function, and I give a function parameters, as in aka guidelines, and it gives me back data. So I guess that's the best way to explain it to the layman and stuff, is that you tell it, I want to look up the top 25 blah 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 in blah blah blah, and it gives you back the data. And that's kind of what the API does. It accepts certain parameters and stuff and returns data. Now it's up to the web developer to present that data to you in a meaningful format. And I'm going to show you kind of what some of the web pages look like, but also the data. It comes back in JSON. Again, another abbreviation. Let's just say it's a drop. It's oh goodness, how to say it? Oh, I don't know how to say it without looking it up. Let me go look up what JSON is to try to explain it to you. Hold on one second. So I looked it up, and on Google, well, yeah, it gave me what the letters stand for in the abbreviation, but that doesn't really say what it is. It's basically, you can use it to categorize and do data anyway. Let's say if you were talking about the hours in a day, maybe the top note of it might be, day, and then it'd be hour one equals, I don't know, 12 o'clock, 12 a.m., and hour two. No, that's not a good way to explain it either. I don't know how to explain it. I use it every day in coding and stuff, and I can't say how to describe it. I use it for, okay, a table. It's like a data table. Like maybe you've used Access or Excel. It's like a row of data in Excel or a row of data in Access. Everything has a column, and that column means something to you, so you know that if it's in column A, it means this, and if it's in column B, it means this. In Excel, that's probably the easiest way to say it. So a JSON is kind of like a row in Excel. I guess maybe that's the easiest way to explain it to somebody. And it's not exactly what it is, but that's kind of a way to think of it. It's a row of data, and then there's many rows of data in the package coming back from the API. Wow, I've probably really botched this and confused you, but just rows of data. Or let's go back to the old thing. You have a filing cabinet. Each filing cabinet drawer has file folders in it, and each file folder has pieces of paper in it. think of it that way. The data coming back is a file, and it has many pieces of paper in it, and there's your data. And depending on how the APIs or queries and stuff are built, you might get the whole file drawer back, or you might just get the file. You want to be precise and get the file, and not waste time trying to query a whole and get back a whole filing cabinet and stuff. And limitations are put on it and stuff. Wow, hope I did that okay. So there's a couple people that have started up some things on websites and stuff. And the interesting thing to me, there's only three that I've seen that have posted, and that's from the actual API form, which is where I was looking. There may be some under player created resources, but I didn't go that far. But the interesting thing to me is they're all focusing on different areas of information, which, I don't know if they were like, I'll focus on this and you focus on that and you do this, but it makes each website unique and informative and stuff. And I really think it's cool. This first one is the Drover's Road Journal. Now, at first, it may not, you know, seem like it's going to show you anything, but if you go like to list of items, and here's the categories. And again, remember, these things are fledgling. They're just starting to work with this API. They've only had it for a very short time. They've still got to find where their niche is and stuff. And then also, categorizing and presenting the data in the best way. What happens is with the data that's coming back from Soda is they have all this stuff called archetypes. And the archetypes are a lot of things that don't seem similar or grouped together. And so these guys are painstakingly mapping some of these things to real life terms that we see in the game. So expect all this to improve and stuff over time. So let's just go into list of items. This guy's got options for you. Well, maybe that wasn't the one I wanted to hit. Let's see. I thought it was. Let's see. No, hold on. Technical difficulty. I clicked the wrong button. I tested this before I went to shoot the video, but I did something wrong. Okay, I found what I was supposed to click. I was supposed to click list of categories. And here's what I found. He's got them broken down. He's really spent a lot of time to break down the archetypes into different things. Ingredients, recipes, sheet music, wax cylinders. And what he's tracking here is basically the sales. And so you folks trying to price things, I would find this a very useful website. I don't know what's all in decorations. Let's see. I haven't clicked into any of these. Nope, that one's no good. I know I've looked at this website before. Hold on one second. Damn it. Oh, it was there, and I just wasn't patient enough because he has to query it. Darn it. Okay, let's see if we can try to do this again. I saw it come up as I let go. It's loading. It told me it was loading, but I wasn't patient. Just like I told you guys, you're going to have to be patient because I got to query the database. And I think this is basically in the last 24 hours. So, and these names aren't quite translated to the Soda names, but he has broken down a lot of the archetypes. So we can see somebody was building a crap ton of this one type of lamp, and somebody else was building, or a bunch of these, and we can sell what's being sold. So it looks like alchemy shelf, no, alchemy shelving. I'm going to assume that stands for alchemy prefab. I don't know what's going to happen if I click on it, so we're going to wait a second before we do that. Banners, somebody made a bunch of banners but didn't sell any. Basement entrance hatches, a bunch of those have been sold suddenly. Let's see. You can see crafting, crafting, crafting. And this is where the devs go, oh my god, there's so many stuff in the world and nobody's buying it. Well, maybe they're using it. Hello? Oh, there's some stuff sold. So, paintings, okay. Those are the Kodo paintings, I think. Frank, Rufus, and William. What else has been sold? Player vendor with fee. So 11 of those have been sold. And they're showing the min-max and all that. Well, those are a static thing from a static vendor. So I might not have picked the right one that shows the activity. Well, here we go. Some rugs. Oh, those are the ones still for Kodos and stuff. So that's not really showing us carpentry or something like that. Oh, goodness, why would somebody craft 1,750 of those? That looks like an exploit to me. If I was looking at these stats, I'm gonna guess they're selling them back for more money than we might have exposed an exploiter here, because that number just seems absurdly high. And this is probably some of the stats that the soda devs look at. Um, Again, eventually expect these things to be more translated into what they are. Hot tub, well, that's only from the store. Somebody sold one from the store. These are things crafted, probably for their own use. You see a lot of crafting going on and not a lot of selling. And that's one of the things that paintings, those are not crafted. They all say port, so I'm not sure. Oh, well, there we go. We're starting getting some round rugs. So now we're seeing some rugs being crafted and sold. Some more rugs. We see a little activity in the rug area. Um, wow, that price seems really high. These seem like the vendor ones, because there's no way somebody's gonna spend $4,000 on a rug. That must be off of a vendor, not off of a player. So perhaps this isn't exactly. Yeah, barrel planters. Yeah, those make sense that possibly, but 4,000 for a planter? I don't understand, because they're not that much. They're only like 400. Anyway, obviously there's some ways to go, and I think that over time we're going to see these, come down and collate the data a little bit more, where you can see what's popular and selling, what's not selling, and things like that. That's the whole idea behind this particular website. And again, I may have shown them in a bad light because it's not exactly what we're looking for. It looks like it's more of the add-on store stuff, but that was just the category I picked. So that's on me, and I'm not going to click into every single one of them because we don't have 20 hours to go into it. But eventually, this will all get more refined, and Soda Book this and that and the other. These names will become more clear as they can make a crosswalk between the archetype coming over from the API and what they're presenting on the screen. But that does take them a lot of work to do. So keep that in mind. Just one more note, it wasn't 4,000. Obviously, it's so total gold was 4,000. Mean, median, max, and min. Obviously bought off a vendor because it's exactly the same price. The only thing that's suspect to me is that 1 and 2 are the exact same, and then 3 is a different one. So I'm not sure what the difference between Barrel Planner 1, 2, and 3 is. Obviously, that's how the data is being reported. And again, this is going to come down to the web devs, uh, you know, collating data where it should be collated. Are there 3 different types of barrel planters? I've only ever seen one. So I don't know why they're being reported back in 3 different data sets, and why 1 and 2 have the exact same numbers. That seems highly odd. So again, it could be with API and stuff like that. But I did want to point out, so then you do get your max and min for helping you to set prices, which was kind of my point in showing you the Drover's Road Journal. Is I think once all the little kinks are worked out and stuff, and I mean, he's even gonna let you put it to a CSV if you want to keep a scrapbook of here's the price of these things today, here's the price of these tomorrow. That's a pretty cool, nice little feature he's got in there. Copying it, I guess I'm going to assume probably if you copy this text into columns, it might paste into Excel. I haven't done it. You can print it and do things like that. And again, we were only looking at just one little category here. But this is some of the kind of information that you can get back from the API, and things that I think I'd personally find useful in looking at what's selling and being crafted and stuff. Um, Books, obviously, not so much. Oh, there we go. This is stuff, hedges and stuff, hedge spheres. So somebody's decoing a garden, not selling them. Wow, a lot of kettle drums going up. Or no, that was jack-o'-lanterns. Somebody was really into Halloween suddenly. Uh, Lanterns, cabinets, cabinet 2, carved table, carved weapon rack. Well, those are going to be the oak ones. We know what those are, but not selling. Lots of people making them, but not selling. So that's interesting. But that's only a snapshot of right now. That's not a snapshot of a week or a month or stuff. So this data is going to be limited in the amount of information gathering you can do with it, unless you're constantly looking at it. Because, and my dog's rolling on the bed all happy. Yeah, you go, girl. Um, anyway, this is why I find this website interesting. Let's go on to the next one. So this one's called monsterterritory.com, and he's doing something very unique as well. He's producing heat maps with these types of icons: gold collected, items looted, monsters killed by players, players killed by another player, player killed themselves. Yeah, that's probably me. But but you can pick where you want to look at. So obviously a city for some of these stats make no sense. Where's Deep Hidden Vale? Where's Deep Ravenswood? We know everybody goes there, so let's look there. There's probably some activity there. So I'm gonna pick Deep Ravenswood. I'm gonna hit Generate Map, and it says since an hour or 24 hours. It gives you two options, because I guess you can specify a time parameter to the API and Generate Map. And if we come down here, we are gonna see. I think more of it fills in. Maybe I don't recall. But this is Deep Raven. Oh, no map set yet for Deep Ravenswood. But we can see if we go over the icons, nothing. What was it? Gold collected is gold, and items looted is blue. So we can see there's lots of item activity in this area. I could have sworn he had the maps showing up here. Maybe something happened and he had to change some stuff around. Well, some chicken carcasses and cooking eggs. We did hit the right place, right? Deep Ravenswood. Tier 5. There's 100. Yes, there's a lot of gold going on at different times. What we got there? Gold. What's all these chicken carcasses and eggs? Because that certainly is not something I've seen in Deep Ravenswood. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's mapped quite right. I know I've looked at this before and it worked fine. How about worm sands? Maybe I hit generate map and it hadn't. Maybe I didn't wait long enough or something. But I have looked at this and it was working. Again, like I said, wait for these guys to work on presenting it and stuff. They're just getting the basic hook-ins going on now. And expect for it to get better. Yeah, so I might have maybe just had something else up there and was waiting on the reply. Scrolled down too long before I was looking at the chicken. Because chicken and stuff, that sounds like a city area. Not getting a response back. Waiting for server reply. So, let's see. Well, 4,000 queries. 70 responses since May 21st. That's kind of interesting. Maybe this one's not back working yet. Maybe he's still playing with it. Or maybe even today. Because, if he's a US player, it's July 4th. And it might be his day off. And he's messing around with stuff and taking things offline. But it was working when I've looked at it before, and you could see the hunting patterns in the areas, you could see the types of loot dropped and stuff, and you could see the gold and stuff, and just like I said, all these other things. So it kind of created maps and showing what was going on, what people were doing in certain areas. I found this very interesting myself too, and it was completely different than what somebody else was using the data for. There's so much data out there, and that's why different websites can, show you different things. Wow, this is really not working. I'm so sorry, but it was working, so I don't want to bash it because it was working, and I think it's a very cool concept. I really liked what he had done. So we'll go back to that. That was Monster Territory, and then I've got one more to show you, so give me a second to get that queued up. This next one's umari.com. I think he does the HUD and stuff, and it's a downloadable thing. Me, I try to stay away from downloadable things for any game that I'm playing. That's just a personal thing. But he has started to do a web presence, a web-facing, presence with the stats and stuff. And so he's looking at loot drops, he's looking at players online, and various. Some of these links are not working. Again, it's not because it's bad website or it's broken. These guys are working on developing it, finding it, and most of them are just doing the background coding, and they're not really necessarily ready for public consumption. But I wanted to bring you guys' awareness to these people that are your early pioneers working on some pretty cool websites. His stats, once again, are different than what you've seen from the other two previous sites. everybody's approaching this in a very different thing, and they're focusing on certain areas. Nobody's trying to be, I am the stat master, because there's just far too many things that people would want to look at. Can you create ad hoc queries? Sure. But that's going to be a lot of coding on the web page. But sure, and I'm sure somebody's going to eventually do that, where you can say, I want to know about crafting in this particular region and how many things have been sold in the past 24 hours. You can very specifically do queries and stuff like that, and show that on the screen. So it's just going to take some time for these guys to find their way and present it back to the public. Players online, I don't think this one's working right now. We'll check it. Yeah, I thought so. I was pretty sure I checked that before. He has top 25 queries. These are just ones that he thought were interesting, and so he wrote the queries for them, and then we'll display the results. A lot of them are not working, so I'm not going to click into them to try to, like, oh my god, they don't work. This is all, again, under development. This is not even alpha, really. They're just showing you guys that they're starting to work on things that I think are going to be very cool, useful, and I wanted to just bring awareness to some of the people that are using this technology to help give you information and maybe help you play the game or market better or shop better or price better or hunt better or find things better. Every little leg up helps. Again, Oracle test passed. Now that was pretty funny because some people fail their Oracle test. I know sometimes I'm clicking too fast and I fail it. I'm like, oh my god, I just cost myself 500 gold because I wasn't paying attention. It happens. That was an interesting stat to him, and that's his top 25 things to query, and he wrote these different ones. Anyway, as these websites develop, like I've said, I would definitely keep an eye on them. There may be some in super secret squirrel mode that we haven't seen yet, so I can't speak to them, but I will promote these guys and applaud them for their work on exposing knowledge to us and not hoarding it to themselves. There may be those super secret squirrel guys like that. Anyway, take care, everybody. Happy hunting and be safe. And yeah, that concludes this video.